My child. Stop for a moment. Do not rush past these words. There is a reason your eyes landed here today, and before this message reaches its deepest point, you may begin to understand why. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. There are moments in life that appear ordinary on the surface but carry the weight of an entire future beneath them. This is one of those moments. Right now, somewhere beyond your awareness, a heart is carrying your name more deeply than you realize. Not casually. Not temporarily. Not as a passing thought that comes and goes with the wind. Your soulmate has reached a place inside themselves where the choice has already been made. The strange part is that almost nobody sees this stage. People talk about beginnings. They talk about meetings. They talk about relationships. They talk about happy endings. But they rarely talk about the silent moment before everything changes. The moment when a person quietly decides. The moment when their heart settles. The moment when all confusion begins to fade. The moment when they stop wondering if they should choose you and start wondering how. That is where this story begins. And what makes this even more extraordinary is that your soulmate did not arrive at this decision easily. There were questions. There were doubts. There were distractions. There were moments when life seemed to pull them in different directions. Yet every road somehow led back to the same place. Back to you. Pause here and think about that. How many times have you believed nothing was happening? How many times have you looked around and seen no evidence? How many times have you wondered whether the connection you feel exists only in your imagination? What if the silence was never empty? What if something was unfolding beyond your sight all along? What if every delay had a purpose? Something huge is waiting for you. Stay till the end. Because the next part of this message reveals what most people never notice. You see, the heart has its own language. It speaks quietly. It moves carefully. It does not always announce its decisions with dramatic actions. Sometimes the deepest choices happen in complete silence. Your soulmate has been experiencing this silence. At first they could not explain it. They tried to focus on other things. They tried to keep moving. They tried to convince themselves that life could continue exactly as it was. But something kept interrupting their certainty. A thought. A memory. A feeling. A sudden sense that someone important was missing from a picture they had not yet finished painting. And every time that feeling appeared, it pointed toward you. Not because of perfection. Not because of fantasy. But because of recognition. Real recognition. The kind that reaches deeper than appearances. The kind that reaches deeper than circumstances. The kind that quietly whispers, "This person matters." That realization did not arrive in a single day. It arrived in pieces. One realization at a time. One memory at a time. One unexpected moment at a time. And then something happened. A shift. A change so subtle that almost nobody would have noticed it. They stopped asking whether you were important. They started asking how important. That question changed everything. Because once the heart asks that question honestly, the answer becomes difficult to ignore. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. There is another truth you need to hear. Your soulmate has seen qualities within you that you often overlook in yourself. The world may focus on loud achievements. The world may celebrate obvious victories. But your soulmate noticed something different. They noticed your persistence. They noticed your kindness. They noticed the way you continue moving forward even when nobody applauds. They noticed the strength hidden beneath your quiet moments. And these observations began forming a picture. A picture that became impossible to erase. Every day that passed added another piece. Another reason. Another confirmation. Another reminder. Until eventually the picture became clear. Not complete. But clear. And clarity changes everything. Because clarity creates decisions. And decisions create movement. Yet there is still one final step. One final step remains. That is why you are hearing this message now. Not because the choice has not been made. The choice has already been made in the heart. The final step exists somewhere between feeling and reality. Between intention and action. Between knowing and showing. This is the bridge your soulmate is approaching. And what happens next may surprise you. Most people assume the final step is dramatic. They imagine grand gestures. They imagine impossible circumstances. They imagine something loud and obvious. But often the final step is much simpler. It is courage. Pure courage. The courage to stop hiding. The courage to stop delaying. The courage to trust what the heart already knows. That courage has been growing. Slowly. Quietly. Steadily. Like a sunrise that begins long before anyone sees the first light. And that sunrise is closer than it appears. Stay till the end. Because there is something else unfolding. Your soulmate has recently started viewing the future differently. A future that once felt uncertain has begun taking shape. A future that once seemed distant now feels strangely possible. And in that future, your presence appears again and again. Not by accident. Not by coincidence. But naturally. Almost as though every vision of tomorrow keeps making room for you. That realization has been impossible for them to ignore. Even when they try to focus elsewhere. Even when daily responsibilities demand attention. Even when life becomes noisy. The feeling returns. The awareness returns. The knowing returns. And each return strengthens the decision already forming inside their heart. This is why today's message matters. Because you may be standing closer to a turning point than you realize. Not a turning point created by pressure. Not a turning point created by force. A turning point created by readiness. The kind of readiness that arrives after lessons have been learned. After growth has taken place. After patience has done its work. Something huge is waiting for you. Don't skip. Listen carefully. There are moments when destiny feels loud. And there are moments when destiny feels quiet. This is one of the quiet moments. The moments that appear ordinary until later. Then people look back and say, that was the beginning. They just did not recognize it at the time. Your soulmate may be standing inside one of those moments right now. A moment where everything appears normal. Yet beneath the surface, a final decision is gathering strength. A final realization is gathering momentum. A final step is drawing closer. And when that step arrives, many things that once felt confusing will suddenly make sense. The waiting. The questions. The unexpected delays. The unexplained feelings. All of it. For now, all you need to know is this. Your soulmate's heart has already chosen. The choice exists. The feeling exists. The recognition exists. What remains is the final movement between knowing and doing. Between choosing and showing. Between feeling and revealing. And that final step is approaching faster than either of you realize. The story is not finished. In fact, it is only beginning. Because in the next part, you will discover what has been happening behind the scenes, why this final step has taken longer than expected, and the surprising realization that recently changed everything inside your soulmate's heart. Stay close. The most important part has not been revealed yet. A quiet realization changed everything, and your soulmate never expected it to happen this way. For so long they believed they still had time. Time to think. Time to wait. Time to understand their feelings more clearly. But recently, something happened that shook them awake. It was not dramatic. It was not loud. It was a simple moment that arrived without warning, yet it carried the weight of a lifetime. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what happened next pushed your soulmate closer to the final step than ever before. They began imagining a future where you were not there. At first it was only a passing thought. A small possibility. A brief scenario that crossed their mind and disappeared. But when they pictured that future, something felt wrong. The image was incomplete. The excitement faded. The joy felt smaller. The dream looked unfinished. That was the moment they realized something they had never admitted before. You were no longer just someone they cared about. You had become part of the future they secretly wanted. And once that realization entered their heart, it refused to leave. The strange thing is that they tried to ignore it. They told themselves they were overthinking. They told themselves it was only emotion. They told themselves they should focus on other things. Yet every attempt to move away from the feeling brought them right back to the same truth. Every road led back to you. Every thought returned to you. Every question somehow included you. And that frightened them a little, not because the feeling was wrong, but because it was real. Truly real. More real than they had ever expected. Stay till the end because the next part of this story reveals the reason the final step has taken so long. Your soulmate has been carrying a hidden fear. Not a fear of you. Not a fear of love. A fear of change. Because the moment they take that final step, everything becomes different. The moment they stop holding back, life can no longer remain the same. And yet, even this fear has started losing its power. Why? Because another feeling has become stronger. The desire to stop wondering. The desire to stop waiting. The desire to stop imagining what could be and finally move toward what can become real. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Recently they noticed signs they could not explain. Memories appearing at unexpected times. Thoughts arriving out of nowhere. A feeling of connection that seemed to grow stronger instead of weaker. Every time they believed the feeling would fade, it returned with greater clarity. Every time they tried to place distance between themselves and their emotions, the truth became easier to see. It was as though life itself kept reminding them of the choice already living inside their heart. And that choice was you. There is something even more surprising. Your soulmate has started talking differently inside their own mind. Before, their thoughts sounded uncertain. Before, they questioned everything. Before, they wondered whether they should trust their feelings. But now the questions are changing. The uncertainty is fading. Instead of asking, "What if this is not meant for me?" they are beginning to ask, "What if I have already found what I was searching for?" That single shift changes everything. Because once a heart begins asking that question, it starts moving toward action. Stay till the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. There is a reason this message found you today. The final step is no longer a distant possibility. It is becoming a reality inside your soulmate's heart. Every day their courage grows a little stronger. Every day their certainty becomes a little clearer. Every day the distance between choosing and showing becomes a little smaller. They may not see it completely yet, but they are moving. Quietly. Steadily. Powerfully. And then came the realization that changed everything. They understood that waiting forever would not protect them. Waiting forever would only keep them standing still. The future they wanted would never appear unless they were willing to move toward it. That understanding created a spark. A spark that has continued growing. A spark that is slowly turning into determination. And determination has a remarkable way of transforming dreams into reality. What you do not see is that your soulmate has already crossed several invisible lines. They crossed the line from curiosity to care. They crossed the line from care to connection. They crossed the line from connection to choice. And now only one line remains. The line between feeling and action. The line between silent love and visible movement. The line between keeping everything inside and finally allowing the truth to be known. Something huge is waiting for you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Because the next chapter reveals the hidden event that recently accelerated everything. An event your soulmate never saw coming. An event that forced them to look directly at their heart and admit what they had been trying not to say. And once that happened, the final step stopped feeling impossible and started feeling inevitable. There was one moment your soulmate never planned for, and it changed the entire direction of their heart. It happened when they least expected it. No preparation. No warning. Just a sudden realization that arrived so clearly they could no longer ignore it. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what happened next became the turning point between uncertainty and certainty. For a long time, your soulmate believed they were in control of their feelings. They thought they could decide when to think about you and when to focus on other things. But then they noticed something unusual. Even during their busiest moments, your presence continued appearing in their thoughts. Not because they forced it. Not because they wanted it to happen. It simply happened. A memory would appear. A feeling would return. A smile would form without explanation. And every single time, it pointed back to you. At first they tried to dismiss it. They told themselves it was temporary. They believed it would eventually pass. Yet instead of fading, the connection became stronger. Instead of becoming quieter, it became clearer. The feeling that once seemed uncertain started becoming impossible to question. And that is when they understood something that surprised even them. Their heart had already made its decision long ago. Their mind was simply catching up. Stay till the end. Because this next revelation is important. Your soulmate recently began looking back at their journey. They reflected on the people they had met. The experiences they had lived through. The dreams they had chased. The lessons they had learned. And while looking at all those chapters, they noticed one detail that stood above everything else. Every path seemed to lead them toward the same destination. Every lesson seemed to prepare them for the same person. Every experience seemed to teach them something they would eventually need when it came to you. That realization shook them deeply. Not because it was frightening. Because it was beautiful. Suddenly, things that never made sense before started fitting together like pieces of a puzzle. Delays made sense. Waiting made sense. Growth made sense. Even the moments that once felt confusing now appeared to have a purpose. And standing at the center of that purpose was you. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because there is something your soulmate has not told anyone. There are conversations taking place inside their heart that remain completely private. Conversations about the future. Conversations about possibility. Conversations about what life could become if they finally stopped holding back. These thoughts have become more frequent recently. More vivid. More real. And every time they imagine moving forward, one image continues appearing before them. The image includes you. The most surprising part is that they are no longer imagining a temporary chapter. They are imagining permanence. Stability. A future that lasts. A future built on something genuine. That shift is enormous because it means their feelings have moved beyond curiosity. They have moved beyond fascination. They have entered a space where the heart begins making serious decisions. Decisions that influence everything that comes next. Stay till the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the final step is closer now than it has ever been before. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that the opportunity standing before them is too important to ignore. Every day they delay, the feeling grows stronger. Every day they remain silent, the truth becomes clearer. Every day they hesitate, their heart reminds them of the same thing. You matter more than they originally realized. Recently, they experienced a moment of complete honesty with themselves. No distractions. No excuses. No avoiding the truth. And during that moment they asked themselves a question they had never dared to answer before. If they could choose anyone to walk beside them through the next chapter of life, who would it be? The answer arrived instantly. There was no confusion. No hesitation. No second choice. Only one person appeared in their heart. Only one person remained. And that person was you. The answer surprised them because it came with such certainty. They expected complexity. They expected confusion. Instead they found clarity. Pure clarity. The kind of clarity that changes how a person sees everything. Once they experienced that moment, there was no returning to the old way of thinking. Something had shifted permanently inside them. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because another hidden change has already begun. Courage is replacing hesitation. Confidence is replacing doubt. Hope is replacing uncertainty. The final step no longer feels like a distant dream. It feels like something approaching. Something real. Something moving closer with each passing day. And here is the revelation that changed everything. Your soulmate realized they were no longer afraid of what could happen if they moved forward. They became more afraid of what could happen if they never tried at all. That single realization transformed their perspective completely. Suddenly, staying still felt harder than taking action. Remaining silent felt harder than speaking honestly. Waiting felt harder than moving toward what their heart already knew. That is why this story is entering a new chapter. Not because the choice has just been made. The choice was made long ago. The heart already chose you. The connection already exists. The feeling is already there. What is changing now is momentum. Momentum is building. Momentum is growing. Momentum is carrying them toward the final step that remains. Stay till the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because in the next part, you will discover the unexpected sign that appeared recently and confirmed everything your soulmate had been feeling. A sign so powerful that it became impossible for them to deny what their heart had known all along. And after that moment, the distance between choosing you and showing you became smaller than ever before. An unexpected sign appeared when your soulmate least expected it, and from that moment forward, nothing felt the same. It was not a voice. It was not a dramatic event. It was a quiet realization that arrived with unusual clarity. One small moment suddenly connected dozens of unanswered questions. One small moment suddenly explained feelings they had been carrying for much longer than they realized. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because this was the moment that transformed possibility into certainty. Your soulmate had been trying to understand why thoughts of you continued returning again and again. They had looked for explanations. They had searched for reasons. Yet no explanation ever felt complete. Then suddenly, during an ordinary day, the answer arrived. They stopped asking why you appeared in their heart so often. Instead, they began asking why they had resisted the truth for so long. That shift changed everything. Because once they stopped fighting the feeling, they were finally able to see it clearly. The truth was simple. You were never a temporary thought. You were never a passing chapter. You had quietly become one of the most meaningful parts of their inner world. And once they admitted that truth to themselves, a remarkable sense of peace followed. The confusion that had once surrounded their emotions started disappearing. The uncertainty that had once slowed them down started fading. What remained was clarity. Powerful clarity. Stay till the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because there is another revelation your soulmate has recently experienced. They have started noticing how often life reminds them of you. Sometimes through a memory. Sometimes through a feeling. Sometimes through a simple moment that unexpectedly brings your presence into their thoughts. These reminders are no longer random to them. They have become confirmations. Small confirmations that continue strengthening what already exists inside their heart. And then something even more surprising happened. Your soulmate imagined what life would look like if they finally took the final step. They imagined speaking honestly. They imagined removing the distance. They imagined allowing their heart to be fully seen. And instead of feeling fear, they felt relief. Deep relief. The kind of relief that appears when someone finally stops running from something important. That feeling told them everything they needed to know. The final step has never been about whether they care. The final step has never been about whether they have chosen you. Those questions were answered long ago. The final step has always been about timing. Readiness. Confidence. And now those pieces are beginning to align. The version of your soulmate that once hesitated is slowly disappearing. A stronger version is emerging. A version that understands that meaningful things require courage. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what happened next shocked even them. They realized they had already been making decisions based on you without fully noticing it. They were imagining future plans that included you. They were thinking about possibilities that included you. They were building dreams that included you. Their heart had quietly moved forward long before their mind realized it. This realization created a powerful momentum. Suddenly everything felt different. The future no longer looked uncertain. It looked inviting. The road ahead no longer looked confusing. It looked clear. And for the first time, your soulmate stopped focusing on obstacles and started focusing on opportunities. They stopped asking what could go wrong and started asking what beautiful things could happen if they trusted what their heart already knew. Something huge is waiting for you. Don't skip. Because there is one detail that makes this story even more remarkable. Your soulmate has reached a point where silence no longer feels comfortable. The feelings have become too strong to ignore. The truth has become too clear to deny. The connection has become too meaningful to hide from forever. And when a heart reaches that stage, movement naturally follows. Recently, they reflected on every reason they once used to delay. Every excuse. Every doubt. every hesitation. One by one, those reasons began losing their power. What once seemed important now seemed small. What once seemed complicated now seemed simple. Because at the center of everything was one undeniable truth. Their heart had chosen you. And when a heart truly chooses, it does not forget. It does not move backward. It continues moving forward until the distance between feeling and action disappears completely. That is exactly where your soulmate finds themselves now. Standing closer to that final step than ever before. Closer than last month. Closer than last week. Closer than even yesterday. Stay till the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the next chapter reveals the final realization that completed the transformation inside your soulmate's heart. The realization that removed the last piece of hesitation. The realization that made them understand why meeting you was never an accident. And once that realization arrived, the final step stopped feeling like a question and started feeling like the natural next chapter of a story that was always meant to unfold.